Sam, how much do you like dog food?
As much as I like Baron Corbin. To be honest.
Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. I am your host Sam and I'm joined by Baby Sam, who if he was a Smurf would be known as Baby Smurf. Hello, Baby Smurf!
Hello. I'm feeling blue because I'm having to rank Baron Corbin.
It's the Power Rankings! If you're unfamiliar with the Power Ranking series, what have we been doing? We've done about 30 of them. And what it is we take a wrestler, give them a score out of 10 in 10 different wrestling categories. We then combine our scores together to give them an overall score out of 200, and then they'll see where they land on our leaderboard. And today we are talking about Baron Corbin. Sam, Baron Corbin.
Sam, I feel that sometimes you do this to torment me.
A little bit, yes.
You do this. We could have ranked any wrestler who's ever lived.
Yeah.
And you've had to take me back to 2017 in
Yeah.
a dire time
Yeah.
in my wrestling life.
Oh, he's GM, isn't he?
I fell asleep doing these rankings. I fell asleep giving him a score. You know what? He's probably a good lad.
He does seem like a nice bloke on interview.
And you know what? I'm being arsed to him because he was also booked to be boring.
Yes, he was.
And to ruin all of the storylines.
But as you say that, everyone's gone, oh, he shouldn't have been released. He was great. We loved him as Happy Corbin. We loved him as Sam. I was like, no, you didn't. Stop lying. Yeah. Stop retro going back in time. Jinder Mahal's title reign wasn't that bad. JBL's title reign wasn't that bad. I want to see Cena versus Orton again. No, you don't. Stop it. You're literally just living it. This is why Vince McMahon hated wrestling fans and said you had no memory. Because it turns out you don't. We hated Baron Corbin. He ruined Raw for ages. I'm not saying it was his fault, but he ruined Raw for ages.
His famous mid-card vortex.
Oh my God. So stop it. I didn't mind Baron Corbin. But I was done with you. You've run your course as a character on WWE. I actually didn't mind his NXT stuff, but as something new, but then they never pushed it on the main roster. It was done. Stop going back in time and thinking suddenly he's like, Jeff Hardy or something. He's not. But before we get into our rankings and make Sam really happy on Baron Corbin, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe and put in the comments your top 10, your scores of 10 for Baron Corbin. Wrestling ability. Sam, where have you gone for wrestling ability?
I've gone with an even 5.
Now, I had 5, but I've changed it to a 6. And I realised why I changed it to a 6. He had a very unique moveset. He actually had moves that other people didn't have. And I think of 3. His finishing move, which obviously we will rank separately. I loved the deep 6 powerbomb, but I also loved the sliding out the ring, coming back in, clothesline. I actually think he was quite unique as a wrestler, and I think he actually needs to be given credit for his actual, when he got to work, or when he got to show his moves in ring work. I thought his moveset was quite an interesting moveset.
So I love the deep 6 in the end of days, but I think the sliding through the ring post was great, but he used it every match.
Every match, yes.
Every match, and that's the spot where that should be quite unique. And
that's why he's a 6. You've actually hit the nail on the head. He had a great moveset, but it was, or at least produced, to be very limited.
And what I'll say to you, Sam, is can you remember a unique Baron Corbin match? They're all the same.
Yes, they are. Oh, yeah. That's why it's a 6 for me. Because I 5, he is a 5 in terms of the fact that they're all the same. But I gave him a 6 for the fact that he has... How many wrestlers actually have 3 or 4 unique to them moves that look like they've invented or at least popularised?
No, I get that.
So,
it was
yeah,
good. But
I liked it. So I will give him a 6. I think 5 is also unbelievably fair. Storytelling. This is the storylines they're in as well as the stories they tell in the ring, Sam.
I've gone 5 again.
I've gone 4 for the reason you just said about that. Because every match is exactly the same. Every story is the exact same. Every storyline he was in was bad.
Yeah.
So you can't... We try and rank them on their best. We haven't said it for a few videos, but we try and rank them at their best unless there's so many bad things we have to take in consideration. But I think... I wouldn't say that his matches are the same, therefore his wrestling ability is bad. It was the storylines is what dropped down his wrestling ability.
And don't get me wrong, he was put in some terrible storylines to work with as a performer.
The Lacey Evans stuff.
Yeah,
the dog food,
just
the
all
GM,
factions.
Ending Kurt Angle's at WrestleMania.
I also go, I think someone like a Chad Gable off the top of my head could make some of those storylines work, and he didn't really make them work.
do you know what? There's the first unique match I probably think of. His match with Chad Gable at the King of the Ring finals. Actually, that was a really good match. And that's because it's all Chad, but it's actually there you go. There's a good match. There you go. I've justified my 6. But no, I have to admit that your score for wrestling ability feels like the score you actually should give almost for the storytelling.
I'm going even 5.
That's the thing. You've done 5, but I meant your argument.
I just think he's all right. He's just solid. He's okay,
so
but
all right.
He's never spectacular.
Promo ability, their ability to talk in the ring. This one I found really, really difficult. I think I've given 4 different scores for this over the course. So, so Sam, where have you gone?
I've just gone 5 because I could give literally a 2 or an 8.
Yeah, this is the thing. So I originally gave 7, and then I said, actually, I really hate listening to him. I'll give it a 4. But actually, he's not a 4. That's really mean because he can deliver a promo when he gets heel heat and stuff. So maybe it's a 5. So I literally just plumped for a 6. Because he is better than average. That's literally where I went. And the reason he was better than average, because he was given the role of GM, because he at least had the ability to do character work and to talk. So he has to be better than average. It was just, I was sick of listening to him.
So here's the thing,
I'm so sick of listening
he's
to
better
him.
than average. He was better than average in a time when no one was good at promos.
Yes, agreed, but we do have to take that into a little bit of consideration because he was able to shine because of it, or at least have the opportunity.
Shine's a big word.
Shine, I mean...
Listen.
I mean that... Look, this is how they're dressed, how they come across in the ring. Sam, what have you gone for look?
So
again, you could give this about 9 different scores.
I'm basing this off his lone wolf gimmick because I feel like that's when he looked his best for me.
Okay.
I've gone with a generous 8.
Unbelievably, if I went off that look, I'd give it a 4.
I liked it.
The thinning hair really doesn't work.
I liked it.
I didn't care for it because I think whenever I see someone in a vest top type thing, my brain immediately goes, have you been told to wear that because you're not massively in shape?
And he wasn't.
And for the people at the time in Vince McMahon, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care about it.
No, but...
Because, I love people like Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and people like that, so I don't care. It doesn't bother me necessarily, particularly if it's a part of your gimmick. Like, if we were doing Kevin Owens on look, we're not going, he's not built, because that's not the thing that he's based around. But he never looked great to me. The gimmick changes I also never thought looked good. Like, he was really rich and he didn't really do much else. He wore a hat.
And then he wore that fur thing, like he was trying to be on Game of Thrones, but a really bad knockoff.
Don't forget his King of the Ring look as well.
That's what I mean. He had that the stick.
Yeah, wearing the waistcoat for GM. I actually hated almost all of his looks, and the fact that I've mentioned so many looks, and he was only in WWE on the main roster for 8 years, 7 years, and we've just mentioned at least 5 looks. Apart from and he was poor. The laughing gimmick.
Yeah,
with
the kind of flowery tops thing.
I don't like any of his looks.
I'm gonna have to take it down to a 6. I've given him loads of 5s. I was trying to give him something.
But you realise when you go through it, you're going, we have to talk about his best, and I do agree that his lone wolf is probably at his best. And then you go, oh, hang on, there's so much more negativity to talk. So I think a 4 may be mean, but I hated all of his looks, so I can't go any higher if I hate all the looks. 6, so. Just be changing 8 to a 6.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't work. You can't do it in the edit. You have to do it with magic hands.
Oh, I see. Well, you do have magic hands.
We move into the entrance. Another really difficult one to do. Sam, where have you gone with entrance?
So I'm going with his lone wolf entrance. And fun fact about this entrance, this is the last entrance theme that Jim Johnston, were you going to say it, that Jim Johnston ever did before he was let go?
The facts. That's my gimmick.
I thought I'd contribute for once in a while. Thank you.
Educating Sam. Well done.
It's
working. I already knew it.
I educated you, I just reminded you.
I have to admit, my score is lower than yours.
You've seen mine. I give it an 8.
No. I didn't see it as I'm saying it's lower than yours because you're going to go higher, and mine's really low because I love that song. But that's it, and I can't give someone a high score just on a good song.
He had good lighting.
No, because they got rid of that almost immediately, and they got rid of his song almost immediately on the main roster. It lasted what? It was. So he then got given this really boring. It was a motorbike type song.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, and then obviously the money thing and all that jazz and the sad thing. So for me, he had a great entrance. If he was stuck with that entrance, I could have given it a 6. I don't think it's an 8 because he did nothing. He just walked to the ring. I think he's another person who should have done a promo and all that lot, or had really unique lighting to come from behind or whatever. So I gave it a 4 because without that song, every entrance is boring, and they ruined it. It was like when they took away Bobby Roode's like glorious thing. I went, nah, don't have that anymore. You're too over with that. Or be a babyface, not a heel.
God forbid an entrance gets you over.
Yeah, so bad news, Barrett. Don't start saying that. You're too over. What? I'm
this
doing
is what
well.
I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. So for Baron Corbin, for me, I've gone with a 4 for entrance because the music was great. Jim Johnson's brilliant, but the rest of the entrances were quite dull, and I didn't care.
I'm gonna give it an 8 because I need to be nice to him at some point.
No.
So, I do like that entrance, and I like the fact it simply doesn't do anything. He walks slowly, but I'm gonna give it an 8, and I want us to move on.
No. His work as a heel, a bad guy. Sam, what have you gone with?
7.
I've also gone with a 7. He's not an upper echelon heel.
No.
You can't put him in that thing because he got heat, and he was always trying to get heat, but he just towed the line at one point between heel heat and go away heat.
Oh, 2019. He did not toe the line. He dove.
And that was the problem, because people go, oh, I meant to get heat. And I go, yeah. And you did for a long time because you're a very good heel. Can't be a babyface. He's a natural heel. And it worked really well. But when he was the Raw GM, he was in like 5 or 6 segments a night.
He became the new heel Michael Cole.
And it literally got to the stage where it was like, this isn't your fault, and I don't blame him. But if he'd have been in 1 to 2 segments a night as the GM, it would have been fine. And he might have even been an 8. But because he just was constant, it dropped that down, and he went into X-Pac heat. It just did.
And I think it just tarnished his reputation for a long time with me because it's like
absolutely right.
You go whenever you see Baron Corbin, you're like, oh, you just associate it with bad times in WWE and bad writing, and that's not his fault.
He is the 2019. It's really sad. I think 2019. I do think Baron Corbin. It's really. I feel sorry.
That's
for him.
not his fault as a performer.
Not. Yeah.
It's the way he was booked and just shoved down everyone's throat and overexposed, and then ended up getting people into factions and ruining other people through storyline, not through him. You just do. Even when you said it, you put it in the message for saying, "Well, we're going to do power rankings." I saw Baron Corbin was like, "Oh, okay, right, okay." It's one of those.
WrestleMania's finished. You've got to be really miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to be sad now until the summer happens.
Yeah.
His work as a babyface, as a good guy, hard to judge because he was a babyface, so we can judge this. So we can get whatever score. We do a rule if they never do a thing, they can only get a high score of 5. But he was a babyface in NXT and for like a week on SmackDown before he was released. Yes. Which was the weirdest thing, because obviously they've been releasing a lot of people who've been in NXT and then get called up. People go, why are you bringing them back up from NXT? If you send them down, then bring them up because they're on a full-time contract. It's TKO running it. If they're got a contract in Raw and SmackDown, they can't be on NXT for long because it's a completely different thing. You need to be on the main channels. And that's why Dijak, for example, got released in the main run, apart from talking backstage and all that jazz. But he was already had a main roster contract when he was in the Retribution, moved to NXT to find a new gimmick, got a new gimmick. Are you going to use him on Raw SmackDown? No. Gotta go. But Baron Corbin got brought back up. That's why his release was quite surprising, but he said in an interview that somebody doesn't like him. So that's really sad. It is really sad for him. But he did get to be a babyface on NXT. How much of it did you see?
Not much, I just knew of it.
Because you used to be an NXT guy, didn't you? You used to watch quite a lot of NXT.
Did, but back in the black and gold days, I didn't like it.
And then it just became very difficult for us to watch unless you were really on the network. We both gave up the network because it kind of wasn't worth it by the end.
AEW also didn't help because that's another thing I had got to watch. So it kind of split my attention even more for
and
me
NXT
as well.
went really bad
and then
at that point.
The main roster got good, so I started watching the main roster, not really caring too much about NXT. So I missed a lot of this, but I know that it was good.
So he was in a great little babyface with Bron Breakker. They were like the Wild Dogs or something like that. I also who cares. What have you gone with?
I've gone with 4 because
3.
Because whilst that was great, it wasn't a tag team.
Yes, and we can't talk about tag team.
Is it him on his own? And I also thought that was quite a short-lived story, and I think you can get pretty much anyone over with a good short-term story.
Especially when you're next to somebody who is going to be a star.
Yeah,
and he had association.
And I'm not trying to discount his part in that as
because he did really well.
He did really well. I just think it wasn't long enough because if I'd never seen that, I'd give it a 2 or a 1 because
you wouldn't
have thought that it was possible.
And on SmackDown, I thought he was okay. In the couple of weeks he was there, I thought he was okay, and then just got stopped getting used and then was released. Yeah. But he was in a tag team with Apollo Crews. It was like
a random tag team.
It really was. So I went with the 3 because you're right. There's not much to go on, and it was good. So it's not a 1 or a 2. It was just at the bottom of our middle section. Gimmick / personality. So any gimmicks they had, what's their personality like? Out of 10, kind of gimmick. So and he has a personality, so you kind of mark it on both. What have you gone with?
I've gone 6. What have you gone with?
I've gone 5.
Okay.
because I hated almost all his gimmicks.
Yeah.
I couldn't mark him lower than a 5 because I think he's done loads of gimmicks and, you know, he tried them. He fully committed to all of them. He clearly has quite a fun personality. He clearly has a good personality as a person. He can got a good promo, so he can make the gimmicks work. But the gimmicks weren't given full booking.
No.
Like, he was like I can't remember, it's like a bum-ass Baron Corbin, but he was like that for about a fortnight, it felt like. And they're going, do that for 6 months. Because then they'd smack the big change to the money grab would be great, but we didn't get enough of it. And, you know, watch him lose, watch him fail, watch him become worse and worse and worse. And then you could have made him a deranged heel or something. Could have been great. I don't think they ever used any. The Lone Wolf thing didn't push it enough.
No.
He should have walked out of tag team matches. Yeah. You know, I'm not tagging him on my own. It should have been all this gimmick of I'm on my own. Yeah. It didn't quite work for me, his gimmicks, so 5.
No, I just kind of went, because he can cut like a 10-15 minute promo, and he's one of those people you can just have him do that. I gave him a 6.
Go and talk and rip on somebody.
Yeah, so I gave him a 6 for that, really.
Yeah, I could have given a 6. It was just I hated the JBL one as well.
Oh, I was kind of into that, and then it was
dropped it immediately.
2 weeks. Yeah, it's like, come on, you know.
Yeah, not for me. That's because I don't want to watch JBL either.
That's fair.
Over and a draw, how much money they make, how much reaction do they get from the crowd? Again, a really, really tough one to mark.
And hence I've given it a 5.
I've gone for 4. Okay. Because I think if he didn't become GM, I think I'm with you on a 5. But I think the fact that he started getting kind of that negative heat, it was ruining the show. People were turning off in droves. So much so, and if people are going, no, that's not true. Triple H, Vince, Steph, and Shane came out onto Raw going, we are giving you the power. We're firing Baron Corbin, blaming him, not blaming themselves as the writers and booking it. And they literally went, we've booked it rubbish, you'll get to decide now. And then we didn't. They didn't do anything change.
That was never going to happen anyway.
It was one of the, if we were doing top 10 worst of wrestling in 2019, 18, whenever this was, that would have been really close to number 1 for me. Because I thought that was repugnant.
Oh, it was terrible.
I thought it was disgusting to blame a wrestler who, don't get me wrong, you've booked into submission. But sadly, we can only talk about Baron. We can only talk about the booking. You can't go, oh, we got bad booking, we'll give him a 10. Everyone by this point wanted him to go away, and you can't get a score above 5 in my eyes if you're being told to go away. So I've gone with a 4.
My only thing was that he could main event, like they put him in.
I don't think he can main event.
No, but like at least they.
See it this way, Sam. He's on our mid card rankings.
I think that's completely correct. But like, it was more that they put him in the main event that extreme.
Why didn't he win more mid card titles? Why didn't he win? He won one US. They're going, he is your perfect heel to hold the title for a big babyface win. You could have him been like the Miz, keep winning titles so that you can put babyfaces over.
Sam, quite honestly, I think during that period, Vince did not know who his mid-card champions were week to week.
Who's champion? He literally forgot Nakamura had the title every single time. He's like, who's the champion? Oh my god, it's Nakamura. I don't like him. Yeah. We'll take that off and give it to this guy. And you're like, oh, who have I forgiven? Oh, it went to Ricochet? I can't remember. So, yeah. You should always end on a finisher. Sam, what have you gone for the end of days?
This will boost his score. I've gone 10. 10. It's a belter of a finisher.
It's one of the best finishers I've ever seen.
And it's new, it's inventive, and you can do it quickly, and you can do it to pretty much anyone, even big people who've done it to.
He did do it to big people. Yeah. It looks a little bit more janky, but it still works. When he has someone small to do it, you can also beautifully counter it by going all the way over, which makes it even better. Like AJ Styles used to be able to swing all the way around because he was so talented, and then other people like Ricochet did it. I think this move's amazing.
Quality.
And this is what I think is one of the reasons he actually was able to get over. I think if he had like a chokeslam or the deep six was his main move, I don't think he would have got as far. I think literally having one of the best moves ever in wrestling for someone who's not a high flyer type thing, it should be commended. And I don't know who came up with it. I don't know if it was him. I hope it's him because quite frankly, it's brilliant. Yeah. I'm not someone must have done it at some point, but I've never seen anyone do it.
No, and that's difficult in wrestling.
Yes, it is.
2015, I think it was, or 2014, that neck of the woods. And that's why
he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at 31. It's won at 31, and that
32.
Is it 32?
32, yeah.
He won it at 31.
Big
Show. God,
yeah, of course.
Oh God. God.
It's a big show, was that? But yeah, I think that's why there was such a buzz about him to begin with.
Yeah.
Because everyone saw his finisher and was like,
new, inventive, good gimmick. Yeah. Lone Wolf, angry heel, kind of throwback heel. And I think they wasted him.
Absolutely.
And ironically, they pushed him, but I still think they wasted him by not giving him what he deserved. They pushed him incorrectly. So we're now going to look at the overall score. Sam, what did you rate Baron Corbin?
I gave him 61 overall.
I gave him 53. I was a little bit more harsher than you. I think that 8-4 entrance thing and all that jazz made a little bit of a difference. So that will give Baron Corbin an overall score of 114. He's in a little bunched group there. So let's see where he first of all dropped onto our mid-card rankings. He goes into 5th place. Behind these people, Carlito, Kofi, Wade. That's pretty much makes sense there. He's above people like Finlay, Jim Duggan, I think, that sort of thing. That's pretty good, 5th going. And on the overall leaderboard, we also have an overall leaderboard of all the male wrestlers. He has slotted in, I believe, into 11th place, just below Slater Gator!
Slater, baby!
Thank you very much for voting. How would you judge Baron Corbin? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. I think he should return with a cat food gimmick.
I think we should not talk about that at all. That should never ever be a thing, ever. Be funny, though. Be long-term booking.
Sam, one day we're going to see the good in Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin.